Hi everybody, this is Rest and Restore Yoga. So tonight we're going to work on really grounding practice and really settling. So for this practice, it would be great if you had some yoga blocks. So especially these two top ones here, you don't necessarily need to have a soft cushion foam block, but it helps for something. And then if you don't have a yoga bolster, you'll want to have maybe a couple cushions or a folded or rolled up blanket. Maybe help to have a yoga strap as well, as we might do some things with that. So as we get started, if you don't have a bolster, that's okay. You could lie flat on your back, but you could lie down on the bolster. You could fold up a couple blankets or roll up a couple blankets. And if this creates too much of a back bend or too much of too much for your lower back, place something underneath your lower back here for a bit more support. And wherever it is comfortable for your arms to get a little bit of an opening here as well. And then we'll take a couple deep breaths into our belly. A couple deep breaths out. It's comfortable, close your eyes here. And we'll begin to focus on the breath. Begin to lengthen both your breath in and your breath out. Put your shoulder blades underneath you. A couple clearing breaths if you need. And allowing your body to settle. And as you're here, allowing the thoughts in your mind to release, letting go of your day so far, letting go of anything that may be congesting your mind. And starting to feel your body, notice your body here in this space, in this room. If you have an intention for tonight's practice, take a moment to bring that into your awareness. If you don't, continue to really notice your breath. So you could count as you breathe in and count as you breathe out, and bring a little bit more awareness to your breath here. And wherever it is that you are in the next couple of breaths, begin to bring your feet down to the floor with your knees bent. And we'll spend a few breaths here. You have the bolster underneath you. Just take a moment to move that bolster off to the side, or that blanket cushion. And come to lie back down for that. And once you're lying flat on your back, bring your knees up towards your chest and let's create a bit of movement here, side to side, or some circular movements with your knees. A few times in one direction and a few times in the opposite direction. And then bringing your feet to the floor, taking your arms wide if that's comfortable and you have the space. Bring your feet wide and move your knees gently from one side to the other. And when you come back to the center next time, extend your legs forward, reach your arms back, give yourself a full body stretch here. Pointing and flexing your toes a few times if you like. And then if you can rest your arms on the floor overhead, keep them there and walk both of your feet over to the left side of your mat and then take your upper body also to the left. And you can also grab a hold of your right wrist as long as it doesn't lift your shoulder up and away from the floor. And some of you might even be able to cross your right ankle over your left ankle here. Connecting into your breathing, softening your shoulders. Just a couple more breaths on this side. Ready to come back to the center, bring your upper body back to the center and your legs, and then move your feet over to the right side of your mat, your upper body up to the right, and you might be able to hold on to your left wrist with your right hand. Go ahead and do that here. Connect back to your breath. As you're ready, let's come back to the center and let's bring our knees back towards our chest. Rock a little bit here, side to side, and some big circles with our knees. A bit of space, a bit of movement, and perhaps a couple clearing breaths. Let's either rock up to your seat or roll to one side and come up to your seat. And let's come up to tabletop. Readjust my hair. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips here for tabletop. Now once you have that, we're going to begin to move through cat and cow. Arching, rounding, moving with your breath, finding some space. Add in any other organic movements, including circles, move your hips side to side. Move your hips back towards your heels, and back forward. And then let's come back to child's pose. So again, for those of you with a bolster, you can place your bolster out in front of you, either across your mat or lengthwise to support you. If not, bringing your forehead to the floor here. Couple big breaths. Allow yourself to settle. Oh, soften. Just stay here a little bit longer if you want to let your arms rest alongside you or wherever it's comfortable, depending on the variation of child's pose you're in. When you're ready, if you have the bolster, move the bolster off to the side for this one. We're going to take a little bit of a twist. I'm going to take our arms over towards the right side, settle your head down. Switching out to the left side of your body, so you can keep your right arm extended or rested alongside you here. And when you're ready, coming back to the center and over to the other side. Once you're ready, let's come back to the center and let's rise back up to tabletop. Take a couple breaths here, arching and rounding through your spine. And then let's walk our hands forward. So this one I like to give lots of options. So you can use your bolster or blocks. You can use your bolster, your forehead can come down to the bolster as well as your forearms. That's one option. If you have blocks, you take your blocks pretty wide actually. Give your arms a bit of space, twisting your palms on the blocks, forehead down to the floor, hips stay lifted. And if you don't have anything here, you can pop up to your fingertips. So place your palms flat, melting your heart here and connecting into your breath. And when you're ready, we'll come back to tabletop. Deep breath in, clearing breath out, and move a couple times again here. And when you're ready, we sit back on our heels for a moment. And we're going to tuck our toes under. So I won't stay here too long. We're going to open up the bottoms of our feet a little bit. So tucking your toes. Some of you might feel that want to stay low. Some of you might be able to lift upright. If you're lifting up, you could also sit back on something here. And ready to come out. Give your feet a little shake. Tap it on your floor. Wiggle your toes. Shake it out a little bit. And then we're going to roll up onto our feet, coming into a standing forward fold. Roll up onto our feet. You can grab opposite elbows here. You can have your elbows above your knees, any other variation, but watch, you might want to bring your feet a bit wider, give yourself a bit of room, maybe sway a bit. Couple big breaths. All right, go up to standing, shoulders back. Come over into mountain. So we'll come into squat pose today, and this could be half squat. This could be supported squat, or maybe even a full squat. And connecting into your breath here. Now, if you're feeling like you can bring your shoulders back with your heart, go ahead and do that. And just remember, you can always come out at any point if you need to. Couple more breaths if you're still here. And let's roll back. Extend your legs forward. Shake it out a little bit here. Okay, so we're going to stay pretty low to the ground tonight. We're going to do some longer holds. So some yin-like poses. So for pigeon pose, a lot of people, this doesn't agree with your knees. You'll come into figure four, either seated or on your back. If you're not sure what figure four is, it looks like this, either sitting down or lying down, okay? But for those of you in pigeon, pick one side. We're gonna do both. Settle in, I'm gonna time us here. For this one, we're gonna stay in a bit longer. So when you're coming into pigeon, you could stay lifted upright. You could have a bolster, perhaps. Support your arms, support your head. But you could also bring your forehead right down to the floor. Give yourself lots of time to connect into your breath here and settle. You're halfway there. Coming back to your breath, especially if you've drifted off. You can always adjust your body a little bit here as well. We'll do 5 more breaths here. Your time, we're going to come out. And as you come out, give yourself a little bit of movement. Or a lot of movement, some hip circles. You can come into child's pose, down dog. What we need to do, and then we're going to come to the other side. So just as you're ready, making your way to the other side. Pigeon or figure 4. If you're in figure 4, it might be a long time to hold with your hands behind your knees. So you could always bring your foot down for a bit and then come back to it. Just adjusting as you need, right? Coming out maybe sooner. And coming back to your breath. And then on this side, settling in. It might feel different. And just about halfway there. About 5 more breaths. You're ready to come out. Come on out. We'll make some movement here. We'll find child's pose, wherever you need. And then we will come into child's pose for maybe about 5 or 6 breaths, evening out both hips here. And when you're ready, let's come back up. So we're going to set ourselves up on our seat. If you have a rolled blanket or a cushion, sit up on it would be best. Have a little bit of height. Bringing the bottoms of your feet together to touch. When you come to bound angle posture, and we're going to hold this one again. So yin style hold. And so just remembering, if you need to come out sooner, come out sooner. You could always come to your seat, come to child's pose. Now, I'm using the bolster for this one again. Because I'm going to fold in a lot. But if you're not folding a lot, you may not use the bolster in this way. You might give the bolster a bit of a hug, or not use the bolster at all. So there's lots of ways to use the bolster if you have one. Or you could just hang out here so that your upper body folds. Connect your breath and notice your breath moving into the back of your body. And then let the front of your body soften as you breathe out. You can continue to feel that way, or move with your breath. There's that slight lift, there's that expansion as you breathe in, and then a softening forward as you breathe out. I'm going to spend maybe about 5 or 6 more breaths here if you're still in the pose. Soften in, let yourself let go a little bit more perhaps. And last few breaths. As you're ready, let's begin to lift upright. Bring your feet, knees towards one another, feet forward. I would like to give my feet a little bit of a shake out first, but I always like to bring my feet to the ground and move my knees from side to side, especially after a hip opener. It just feels like a really nice release for my hips. Ooh, ooh, correct. All right. So we've done a few forward folds, and the next thing I want to do is a back bend. So I'm going to get set actually going to grab a blanket. I'm going to show you. You can do it pretty easily with a rolled up blanket. Blanket's not a very big blanket, but it's pretty dense. So if you have something similar or a thicker blanket that's a bit more cushiony, you're going to roll it up. It's going to be thicker, but it's going to squish down a lot. So you can use your bolster as well. I'll show you the bolster in a moment. So you don't necessarily need a blanket. We're going to set ourselves up so that the blanket's at the tip of the shoulder blades. The shoulders are free, so they're resting down towards the floor. And you can have your legs extended here. You can have your feet bent. And wherever it's comfortable for your arms may come to the sides. And if they're floating, you may want to have something else to rest underneath your arms. So that's with the blanket. The bolster is cushiony, but it is going to be, it's also dense. So it may be a little bit more of a back bend for you. And that might be okay, but it might not be. So just check in. And I always like to put a little cushion underneath my head for this one because I feel like my head drops back too far. And then arms extended here. I'm just going to readjust if that's like hot for you. Okay, and then you could have your legs extended. You can have your knees bent with your feet on the floor. It does take a bit of the back bend out. And then we're going to hang out here for a little bit of time. So closing your eyes here as well, if it's comfortable. And I will be timing us on this one. I'm just going to dim the lights a little bit. Yes. Too much light in my eyes. Okay. And connecting to your breath, maybe breathing up into your heart space. It can be quite intense, so just checking in. You may want to soften and breathe into your belly a bit more. Ooh. Ooh. Boy, oh boy. Staying with your breath, softening in, giving yourself an opportunity to let go. Give yourself a little bit of opening across the front of your body. We spend so much time on computers and leaning forward, even just driving will have that forward motion. So this is helping to open us up in that opposite way. Well, about 2/3 of the way there. We're going to stay here for about another minute. Ooh, couple more big breaths. Ooh. As you're ready, I'm going to prepare to either roll to one side and use momentum to lift you up, or lift upright, sitting straight up. And then let's move any bolsters blanket, props off of our mat, and let's roll onto our back. Once you come onto your back, let's have our knees in towards our chest and rock a little bit here. A little bit of a counter to that last back bend. Really forward fold here. I like to roll my ankles out whenever I get a chance to. So if you want to circle your ankles a few times, feel free to do that anytime where your feet are off of the floor. So we're going to get into the back of our legs before we come into a bit of an inversion. I'm going to use a strap tonight. If you have a strap, take the strap around the bottom of your right foot and take your hands down the strap far enough to rest your shoulders back and maybe your elbows. If you don't have a strap, you might be able to grab behind your leg, behind your hamstring, which is between your knee and your sit bone. And then depending on how it feels here, you might want to flex your toes or just relax your foot. And then your other leg could extend long if you like, or you can keep your foot on the floor if you need that. And if you have your foot on the strap, you can switch sides by taking the other foot in the strap first. And if you don't, we'll just switch legs in whatever way makes sense for you. Holding the back of your leg or having the strap around the bottom of your foot. And then breathing here, connecting to your breath. I tend to like close my eyes and just draw in and focus on breathing and noticing the sensation in the back of my leg generally. Now, all right, you're gonna let that go. You have the strap, bring the strap off to the side, give your feet a little bit of a shake it out a little bit. Now, either with a block, a folded blanket, or bolster, lift your hips and place the prop underneath your hips for support. Sometimes I use a block, and sometimes I like the bolster. If I don't have either, folded up blanket will do just well. Oh boy. Ooh, this is a nice relaxing class for me even. So this is an inversion here. Now, just feeling wherever it feels to lift your legs. And again, I'm starting with some circles of my ankles, some flexion, extension, pointing and flexing. And then if it's a lot, you're going to bend your knees a lot, or you can bend your knees a little if you can't extend your legs straight. Sometimes people like to also lift their arms and then plug your shoulders back and then just let your hands rest. I prefer to have your arms overhead or alongside me. So you choose what you want to do with your arms. And here is just about settling into your hips, connecting into your breath, and just allowing your legs to recirculate some fluid from probably being on your feet most of the day. Can't talk now. Ooh, we're ready for bed now. It's only 7:10. You can also take this, do this posture up against the wall with your sit bones up against the wall. I usually leave the bolster out then. This is a really nice way to find some restorativeness. I find when I used to do legs at the wall pose on a nightly basis, it was a bit more of a can't even talk. It was a bit calmer. I was a bit more of a calm person. Take about 5 more breaths here. And when we're ready, let's bend our knees and bring our feet down. So keeping the support of the bolsters, throw our shoulder blades underneath of us, supported bridge. And if you have a block, you can always take the block up a bit higher, the feet down, and breaths into your heart space here. Ooh, boy, oh boy. You're welcome to keep your feet on the ground, but you could also extend your legs long, which will then take you into a bit more of a back bend. So if you're feeling okay in your lower back here, it's not pinching, you can go ahead and do that. If not, keeping your feet down, knees bent. And breathing into your belly. And as you're ready, we prepare to bring our feet back. Move your block, your bolster, your blanket from underneath of you. And let's bring our knees up into your chest and rock or circle here. Oh my gosh, I'm really, really getting tired. And then when you're ready, placing your feet down and let's move our knees a few times from side to side here again. And coming back to the center. Let's bring our right knee towards our chest. And then you can keep your left foot on the ground or extend it long. You're going to make some hip movements. So moving your knee to the side and back to the center a few times. Coming back to the center, bringing your that foot down, bringing your other knee in towards your chest. A few times side to side with this knee. You can keep your right foot on the floor, extend your leg long. And coming back to the center, bringing both feet down, bringing both knees up towards your chest. Let's come into happy babies. You can hold your knees wide, you can reach for your ankles or your feet, and then draw your knees down alongside you, shoulders down, and lower back settling towards the floor here. And as you're ready, we'll release that. And we're going to come into bound angle posture one more time here. This time we're reclined on our back, shoulder blades underneath us, heart open, wherever it's comfortable for your arms. You can rest on your belly, overhead, beside you. Take a deep, clearing breath. you're ready, let's bring our knees back towards one another. Let's bring our knees over to one side for a twist. Now, whatever twist you like, you could stack your knees, you can have your knees parted, whatever is comfortable for you here. Ready, let's come back to the center. Let's bring our knees up and over to the other side. And as you're ready, let's come back to the center. One more knees to chest or happy baby or something in the center here. You're gonna find your way into Shavasana. Now, I'm gonna use the bolster again, and a couple of things with the bolster you could do. You actually elevate the bolster a little bit with a block or two. This is if you have a bolster, of course. Put the bolster on an incline. And when you're lying down, you have that little bit of an incline here. Of course, you could always use one block, two blocks. But stay warm. So maybe put on a blanket or a sweater. If you don't want to lay down along the length of the bolster, you have a bolster, you can always put the bolster underneath your knees. It's a nice option. You could come to lie flat on your back, or on your side, or wherever's most comfortable for you. And once you find that comfortable place to lie down, let's take a couple clearing breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth, and then giving yourself permission to let go and to surrender a bit more here. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Make some gentle movement with your body. Maybe give yourself a full body stretch. If you're on your back, you could bring your knees towards your chest. If you're on the bolster, you could bring your feet to the floor, knees bent for a moment. And just take your time. You can roll to your side or come right up to your seat, depending on where you're at. Take a moment here to connect back to your breath. Just thank yourself for being here. And practicing for showing up for yourself. I'd like to thank you as well. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you have a restful night. And hope to see you again soon. Bye.